Ukraine's aspirations to join NATO have hit a significant roadblock as Slovak Prime Minister Robert Fico has vowed to block Kyiv's entry into the alliance for as long as he holds office. Fico's stance highlights the political hurdles NATO faces in integrating Ukraine once the war with Russia ends. In a televised interview, Fico, known for his close ties with Moscow, reaffirmed his opposition, stressing that under his leadership, Slovakia's MPs would never support Ukraine's NATO membership. Given that NATO expansion requires unanimous agreement, Fico's resistance could delay Ukraine's bid until at least 2027, when his term expires.
As long as I am head of the Slovak government, I will direct the MPs that are under my control as chairman of the ruling Smear party never to agree to Ukraine's joining NATO.
Fico's hardline position stands in stark contrast to NATO Secretary-General Mark Rutte's statement last week, which suggested that Ukraine is closer than ever to joining the alliance. This growing divide between leaders like Rutte, who support Ukraine's inclusion, and Fico, who opposes it, exposes the rift within NATO on how to manage Ukraine's future. Fico's concerns stem from fears that bringing Ukraine into NATO could spark dangerous escalations, potentially triggering World War III if Kyiv invokes NATO's collective defense clause. These concerns are central to his broader foreign policy, which has shifted dramatically since his return to power in 2023. Unlike the previous Slovak government, which provided military aid to Ukraine, Fico has cut off military support and is seeking to restore economic ties with Moscow. His pro-Russian stance could have broader consequences for NATO's unity. Other nations with Russia-friendly leaders, like Hungary's Viktor Orbán, may follow Slovakia's lead, complicating the alliance's efforts to expand. This situation mirrors the delays faced by Sweden and Finland, whose NATO membership bids were held up by Turkey and Hungary for nearly 2 years before they finally joined earlier this year. Fico has also hinted at possible diplomatic overtures to Moscow, suggesting he may attend the 80th anniversary celebrations of the Soviet victory over Nazi Germany next year. His admiration for Soviet sacrifices during World War II reflects his intention to rebuild ties with Russia, even as Ukraine remains locked in a deadly conflict with Moscow. Meanwhile, tensions between Slovakia and Ukraine have risen over energy disputes. Kyiv's decision to halt the transit of Russian oil through its territory, affecting Slovakia and Hungary, has led to threats from Fico's government to cut diesel supplies to Ukraine if the issue isn't resolved. This energy standoff adds a new layer of tension to an already strained relationship. Despite Fico's staunch opposition to Ukraine joining NATO, his government remains open to Kyiv's bid for European Union membership. This nuanced position casts Slovakia as a critic of Ukraine's military ambitions, but a potential supporter of its European integration.
Thank you.
Fico met Ukrainian Prime Minister Denis Shmyhal in Uzhhorod on October 7th. While the meeting is likely to focus on energy disputes, the broader implications of the war and Slovakia's political stance will no doubt influence the discussions. Fico's pledge to block Ukraine's NATO membership for the foreseeable future adds another layer of complexity to NATO's expansion dilemma. For Ukraine, still on the front lines of Russia's invasion, the path to NATO membership remains distant and increasingly fraught with political opposition within Europe.